And that's the current law for carrying a gun in Iowa.
That is the current law for carrying a gun in Iowa.
So can I carry a gun into businesses? And are they able to refuse service to you if you do so? So if I have a gun and I get pulled over, what do I tell a cop? Welcome to the Biker Rebellion. I'm your host, Ginger, here with founding member of the Biker Lawyers, Pete Leahy. Recently, we've been posting videos regarding protecting your rights when you're pulled over for a routine traffic stop by law enforcement. One viewer asked us to talk about Iowa's constitutional carry gun laws and how that plays out in a routine traffic stop. Let's dive in. Pete, what is the history of gun laws in Iowa? How have things changed over the years?
So I can take you back as far as I know. And at one time, Iowa had what's known as a May issue gun permitting system where you could apply to the sheriff and the sheriff could apply his or her discretion and decide whether to issue you a permit. And then several years ago, it went from may issue to shall issue, which was kind of what it sounds like. It was pretty much mandatory. Once you've made an application for a gun permit, as long as there's not some significant problem that shows that you shouldn't have a gun, the sheriff had to issue that permit. Then fast forward up to about the last couple of years, and the legislature in Iowa did away altogether with any need for anybody to have a permit to carry a gun. So every citizen in the state of Iowa, adult citizen that's not otherwise disqualified for carrying a gun, can legally carry a gun without a permit now.
And that's the current law for carrying a gun in Iowa.
That is the current law for carrying a gun in Iowa. However, you want to be knowledgeable, or at least before you go over state lines, you need to know what other state laws are if you're going to be carrying a gun.
Sure, and that's somewhat seen also in the motorcycle community with helmets and whether you need them in other states versus Iowa. And Iowa, I believe, is still a choice on whether you want to wear a helmet or not. It's not required, but there are other states that care about that, yeah?
Absolutely. I mean, I've been riding with guys who, once we cross state lines, for example, into Nebraska, the first thing they do is pull off the road,
Really?
and put on their helmet.
Okay.
But you need to know those things with guns too. You need to know if you need a permit to carry in a particular state, and if you do have a permit like I do, you need to know what states that permit is good for. And if you're a law-abiding citizen like me, yeah, that may dictate what your route is going to be when you're going cross country.
Sure. So what is a concealed permit carry?
A concealed carry permit is literally a permit on a card, just like a driver's license that you carry in your wallet, that shows that you've got the right to carry a concealed weapon in whatever state you might be in or whatever states it's good for.
Do you need this permit to carry a gun in Iowa?
Not in Iowa, you don't.
Okay.
But again, if you're going to cross state lines, you probably do need it.
For like bordering states to Iowa, most of the Midwest, do they tend more towards the concealed permit, and is that just a good safety measure to have if you're going to move across the Midwest?
Well, let me just give you an example. I rode out to Colorado a couple of years ago.
Sure.
And I made sure I checked before, but as long as you got a permit, an Iowa permit, I was good to go through Nebraska and I was good into Colorado. But these are the kinds of things you need to check before you take a ride like that, because to contrast that, if you're going to ride up to Minnesota, your Iowa permit is not recognized, and there are a number of other permits that are not recognized in Minnesota. You got to specifically get a permit in Minnesota in most instances.
Can I carry a gun into businesses?
Yes, there are a select few places that the legislature, and I'm talking to the Iowa legislature,
Sure.
has said you cannot carry a gun. And I'm not going to remember them all, but I'll just give you an example. For example, you can't carry a gun into the State House.
Okay.
You can't carry a gun into places that serve alcohol. You can't carry a gun on school grounds or into a school. And there are some others. I don't remember them all off the top of my head. But again, these are the kinds of things that you want to know.
Now, if it isn't explicitly banned, let's say it's just a normal restaurant, they don't serve alcohol, can they refuse service if they notice that I have a gun?
Well, if they don't serve alcohol, it's not a normal restaurant.
Fair enough.
But anyway, I'll address your question. If it's any kind of a business, restaurant or otherwise, that doesn't serve alcohol, yeah, you can carry your gun in there.
Okay. But are they able to refuse service to you if you do so?
So that's a really good question, because if you pay attention, you will see some businesses have signs that say you can't carry a gun in here. The sign has no effect under the law.
Okay.
You can still carry a gun in there. But if they want you to leave, if they notice you're carrying a gun and they say, "I'm sorry, sir, we don't allow guns in here, you're going to have to leave," then you got to leave.
Okay.
They can send you away if you're carrying a gun.
If I have a gun and I get pulled over, What do I tell a cop?
Depends on where you are, because there are different laws. And again, this is something you want to know if you're going to be traveling across state lines. You need to know these things. But in Iowa, for example, there is no law that says that you have to volunteer and tell the cop you're carrying. Matter of fact, there's not even a law that says you have to answer them if they ask you. However, they can ask you if you've got a permit to carry a gun. You do have to answer that. And if you do have a permit, you got to show them your permit.
Okay, so do you need to have that permit with you when you're driving if you have a gun?
Yes.
Okay. In the state of Iowa, let's say you have no permit, but you are able to carry under the state laws,
Right.
and you're driving and a cop pulls you over, you don't have a permit. Is that an issue? Okay, I'm traveling in Iowa. Do I need a permit to carry the gun with me, even if I'm just sticking to Iowa? I'm not going outside the boundaries.
In Iowa, you don't need a permit to carry a gun anywhere.
So let's say we're traveling in the Midwest and we go outside of Iowa just a little bit, like Illinois, Nebraska, Minnesota, the surrounding states. Do you need a permit there? What do you need to do there?
Well, again, the permitting varies from state to state, and you need to be familiar with those things and know if you don't have a permit, if you can carry in other states, or if you do have a permit, which states recognize the permit that you have. But another important thing to be aware of is what are the laws of the various states once you are stopped, because there are states who have laws that say you need to tell the officer right away if you have a firearm. You don't wait for them to ask. You got to tell them immediately. And that is the law in Nebraska.
Okay.
Whereas all the other border states to Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Missouri, the law of all of those states is if you're asked, you have to disclose that you're carrying a weapon.
Fair enough. So, Pete, we've talked about a few different states now, not just Iowa. And where would I go to check the laws of these other states so that I understand what my rights are and what I need to be doing in each of these states when I have a gun?
If you're going to be crossing state lines with a gun, I highly recommend that you go to a website known as usconcealcarry.com. It's a great starting point. It gives you a rundown on the different state laws, where you can or can't carry with a particular permit, which states you have to tell the officer right away that you're carrying versus which ones you have to respond if they ask you. It's a great resource, and I highly recommend it if you're going to travel across state lines with a firearm.
If you have any additional questions, go ahead and just comment below and let us know what else you'd like to know. In the meantime, thank you for joining us today. If you're in a crash in the Midwest, give us a call for your free consultation. And until next time, speak truth to power. Brought to you by the Biker Lawyers. Injured? Ride with us.